Hey there, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make some resin comic book coasters the right way. There is a wrong way, and I've spent a lot of time figuring out what the wrong way is, and now I know what the right way is. The right way is you are going to want them to be crystal clear, no bubbles, no marking of the comic book paper, no distorting it, and no wrinkles. So that's the right way. The wrong way is when you either have bubbles in your resin or your paper has become splotchy. There's two types of comic book paper. There's the one that the Superman one is, which is like shiny and water resistant. And then there's the other one, which is more like paper. If you do it the wrong way, the one that's more like paper will become splotchy and gross looking and wrinkle really badly. Also, you want your resin to be as clear as possible without having to buy a pressure pot. You just want to be able to do it on a table and not spend hundreds of dollars on a pressure pot to like shrink the bubbles so that you can't see them. You're just trying to do this for fun. So I'll show you how to do that. The way I'm doing it is the way where you can come out with a perfect coaster every time. So first and foremost, supplies. What are you gonna need to make some resin coasters? First, you're gonna need molds, link in the description. Then you're gonna need epoxy, link in the description. Then you're gonna need some sort of mixing stick. Usually just when I'm at Lowe's, I grab a few of these, or you can just buy a whole bunch of tongue depressors. Next, you're going to need some mixing containers, ones that allow you to mix the resin in exact amounts. Next, you're going to need some Elmers glue or some Modge Podge. Next, you're going to need some sort of sealant. I'm using this one pictured, link in the description. And a small little butane torch for popping bubbles. And last, you're going to need some sort of backer, whether it's corkboard or felt or little rubber stoppers, something to put on the back. So this bit is easy. You just take your part A and part B and mix them together evenly. Now you want to know how much you're going to have to mix up. It's easy. Just take every single mold that you're going to be filling up, fill it up with water, and then dump it into one of your measuring cups. And then it'll tell you exactly how much resin. And then just mix exactly that much resin and pour it in. Now this step is very important. As you can see, there's tiny little bubbles everywhere, and you don't want that in the final piece. You want it to be crystal clear with no bubbles. If you have bubbles in it, it's going to look bad. This is just a little cooking torch. This is used for creme brulee and other things. It's relatively inexpensive, cheap, and easy to use. You just run it over several times. Let the resin sit for a few minutes, and come back and do again until all the bubbles are out. So you're gonna do a few passes with this. You're gonna do it almost immediately, then leave it a few minutes, and then go back again, and then go back again. You just don't wanna hold over one area too long. You wanna have motion while you're doing it, because if you hold over one area for too long, you're gonna burn the resin, and then it doesn't come out that great. That one spot will come out kind of sticky. So, keep moving it and keep doing it. Maybe spend 15 minutes doing it, a few minutes in between each one. And once they've cured, you just peel them out of the mold by pulling the mold back a little bit to get it all loose, and then just peeling it out. And there you go. You've got a crystal clear blank that we can now apply the comic book to. So now that you have demolded it and have your crystal clear blank, it's time to put your artwork on. We're going to be doing comics. Now I tried a whole bunch of different ways, so I'll show you the wrong ways, and then I'll show you the right way to apply it with glue and Modge Podge. So the first way I did it was I poured a little bit of resin in the mold, then I put in the comic book art, and then poured resin over it. But you can see that it like floats and warps. It doesn't stay exactly the same. And then it looks kind of fine from the top, but it doesn't look as good as it could because the paper's not sitting flat in there. It's just paper inside of a fluid, and it will move around. Also, what happens when you do that, as you can see, this one's not in there exactly flat. Also, what happens is the paper gets wet and turns all splotchy. And also, you can even see bubbles in this one. The bubbles have nowhere to escape and then just stay in there. Then I tried pouring the entire thing and going back and putting artwork on when it was no longer super liquidy. It was more, you know, viscous, more of a solid, and put the artwork right on the back and stick it to it. But bubbles still formed because the bubbles that were releasing had nowhere to go. So they all gather up under the paper. Before you attach your artwork to the blank resin, you need to prep it. You need to make it waterproof. Hairspray works, other products work, but I just bought this off of Amazon and this works just fine. What happens when you do not prep it is it gets splotchy, or you can see through the paper, or it just looks bad. And it depends on the kind of paper. If you're using an older style comic book that is kind of like more definitely papery and thin, you're gonna get splotches, you're gonna get a very poor result. If you're using newer comic book material, which is kind of like a shiny, thicker material, it doesn't really matter that much, but still prepping each one is good. So this is what happens if you don't prep. It gets all splotchy and gross looking, or you can kind of see through. Like this was a solid picture of Wolverine and the words were on the other side. Now it's kind of a see-through picture of Wolverine and you can see the words. Same thing with this X-Men one. It was a solid picture, but now you can see the words on the back side because I did not prep it. The way that I cut out the artwork to be perfect is I use an erasable marker.
Trace it.
And then I would cut that out on the inside line. The reason I use an erasable marker is so that I can then just wipe off the mark. I've already got here some pre-cut artwork in a blank. So I will just take a small bit of Elmer's glue and a brush and apply evenly across the entire back of the blank. Place the artwork face down and press out all air. You'll see it look a little milky, but it will dry clear. Now for the backing, I just buy felt from the local hobby shop and I cut it to a square that is a little bigger than the piece, and then I will just hot glue it on. You can use cork board or little rubber stoppers or whatever else you want for the back, or leave as is, but I like it back. It makes it softer and that's not going to scratch up the surface. So you just apply hot glue to the back. And then place your backer on. Press it all down. Now, I like cutting the piece of felt a little larger than the piece, so then I can peel back and see where I need to attach more glue. Like right there, I need to glue a little more. Right there, and then just put a little more glue on, press it down, and then it's a nice, secure, even tightness. Then you just cut off the excess. Okay, so now we have our coaster with our back. It'll protect the surface. It's crystal clear. The paper's not all splotchy or wrinkled or messed up looking. So I hope this helps you make perfect coasters in the future. You can then sell them on Etsy or give them as gifts. And we're doing comics today, but you can do literally anything. Thanks for watching.